Hi guys, Jessica Sanders here of ColorMeCreativeArt.com. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for joining me. So last time I played with my jelly plate, I had a little bit of a problem with the jelly plate sliding around. So today I tried to come up with a solution. I left the plastic on the back of my jelly plate and I used some double-sided repositionable tape and put it on there, and that's attached to my craft mat. And so now my plate doesn't move around so much. Okay, so let's get started. I have chosen to use some certain colors. I thought fluid colors would work really well for what I'm trying to do today. I want to do some color-filled paintings inspired by Mark Rothko. So the colors I've chosen are teal, um, iridescent gold, bright, and quinacridone nickel azo gold. And the other colors I have are the primaries, which are the Pyro Red, the Hansa Yellow, the Quinacridone Magenta, and the Phthalo Blue green shade. So those are the colors I have, and I can make any color from there. And I have my brayer, and I started out with some colored papers. I pre-painted these papers because I wanted to do the color fill technique. And in order to do that, I need a larger size, I need a border of color on my paintings. Um, so Rothko created color-filled paintings, and basically what that is he would have a bordered edge and a couple of rectangles. So he might have 2 rectangles or 3 rectangles on his page, and on his work, his painting. So I've chosen now, I started with the phthalo blue and the magenta, and I'm just going to create a couple of rectangles on my jelly plate. Now because my paper is bigger than my jelly plate, I can go all the way to the edge of the jelly plate and to create my rectangles, and they're not going to cover up all of the paper. I can see that I have a lot of that blue still mixed in with the magenta, but that's okay. I'm going for a depth of color here and layering, so all the different colors should work out really nicely. And so I'm pressing down really pretty firmly, and these paints actually dry a little bit faster than I expected them to, but it's okay, it all works out. So I can see a lot of depth of color there, and I'm trying to remove my little ghost print there. And so I'm going to continue on with the blue and with the magenta and do several different prints with those just to see what effect I can get. In Rothko's work, you could see layers of paint and his brush strokes and all of the texture and depth that went along with that. And so this is what I'm really trying to go for here, is just layers and depth. And so this is my second print on this same piece of yellow paper, and there's a lot of texture there. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry and switch to a new paper. And I think I'm going to do the this is a Grumbacher red paper, and it has a red with a little bit of an orangish tint, and I'm using still the same colors of the phthalo blue and magenta, and just rolling that out of my jelly plate into my rectangles. Just see, I'm leaving a little space because I want that middle color to show through. And there we go. I'm always excited to see what it's going to look like when I take it off the plate. This is only the 3rd time I've used the jelly plate, so I'm like really super excited still, and I probably will be forever. So you can't really tell a lot of difference between the magenta and the phthalo blue on this red paper, only tiny bits of it. And I think what I realized when I'm doing this next layer is, like, I had a lot of blue mixed in with the magenta, and so that's probably why you can't really see the difference on the red paper. And so continuing on with the phthalo and the magenta, and I'm just trying to see what different effects I can get and how much depth I can create with these rectangles. An interesting thing about Rothko is he wasn't really interested in color per se and how colors work together. He was really interested in the emotion he could evoke in a person in response to his paintings. Um, and so he wasn't about exploring color, but a lot of people view his work that way. So now I'm switching over to the nickel azo gold and the pyrrole red, and that gold is turning a little bit green because of the blue that I had on my jelly plate, but it's okay. Like I said, we're just going for depth here. We're not going for a perfect exact color or anything. And so there's the red, had a little bit of that green mixed in, and it just toned it down just a little. Worked out pretty well. And let's see. Really interesting colors on that yellow. Really interesting texture, lots of texture. And I'm going back more with the nickel azo gold, but this time I'm using the gold fine at the bottom, and getting some interesting effects. I didn't have quite enough paint. I put some more paint on, and I ended up actually taking the paint off of the jelly plate instead of putting it on with my brayer. Chalked that one up to, I don't know, inexperience maybe. So I just added some more of the nickel azo gold and started again. And that worked out much better. I don't know how I did that. And then this gold fine is just stunning. It's so metallic. It is beautiful. And I just really, really loved that color. See what happens. The big reveal. Yeah, really, really beautiful. Just stunning. And if I could just keep the jelly plate and use it as a piece of art, I would do that. So I decided I would put some of the nickel azo gold and the fine gold over, oh no, not the nickel azo gold, the teal and the fine gold over this blue printed on the red paper. And I was actually getting a more sheen on the finish than I expected with that phthalo blue paint from Golden. It wasn't a matte finish, and I really was liking that effect. Pressing down really nicely. This was stunning. I mean, I just couldn't get over how beautiful this was. The texture and the color was amazing. Loved it. And here's where I've been cleaning off my brayer. That paper looked pretty nice, so I decided to set it aside. And I actually use wax paper for my palette paper, and also I'm using it to clean my brayer. And it's a really great paper you can use. It doesn't tear very easily. It takes a lot of time to really mess it up. It takes a lot of water to mess it up. And then I can use that later as a collage element or something like that. So I decided now I would switch to 3 colors, and I have the teal, the nickel azo gold, and the ultra fine gold. And I'm going to make 3 rectangles this time on my jelly plate. I have a little bit of that teal mixed in with that gold. Just looks, just has a lovely effect. It's really pretty. And then I try to stay just in the middle and not mix those colors too much there. But it's a nice, almost a gradation of color. And I'm going to put that on this. This paper does not look magenta on camera, but it is magenta. It's a really dark pink. So let's see how this turns out. So my paint dried on the jelly plate before I really got much paint off of there, so not much showed up on the magenta. There's just some texture there. The texture is really nice, but I wanted more color. So this is all an experiment for me, so I'm just learning as I go, and I hope that what I learn will help you out a little bit. Can't let the paint dry on the jelly plate. It will come off on the paper then. And of course this is painted paper, so that actually does make a difference in how the paint comes off of the jelly plate. It's not as absorbent. The paper's not as absorbent as if it were not painted. That was better. Now I've got lots of texture, lots of color, really liking the contrast there. Okay, so this is my original paper that I started out with, the very first one, and I decided I wanted to use the teal because it would go with the blue, and then fine gold because I felt like it would look nice over the dark field of color that's at the bottom of this page. And again, the teal mixed with the fine. And here we go. Lots of pressing down because a lot of the paint didn't come up before, so I'm trying to make sure I press down even more firmly. So I have a nice sheen there. I picked up some of that. It's not a very solid color. I left so much on the plate. So the question is, do these look like Rothko color-filled paintings? And the answer is no, not really. His rectangles were much more solid than these are, but that said, I love these. It didn't have to be exactly like Rothko, and I love the texture and the color, and these are going to make some beautiful collage pages. You can see so much detail. This was a lot of fun to try too. It was like a much more less random, I guess, of a technique, but I ended up with a more unexpected effect because not all of the paint came off of the jelly plate. And this one was my favorite. I think I'm going to put this in my shop. It is just a stunning, if you could see it in person, it is a stunning piece of artwork, and it's just beautiful, and the colors were perfect. And so thank you very much for joining me today and exploring jelly plate printing and abstract expressionist artist Mark Rothko. And go out and try some creating yourself. Be inspired by an artist that you love. Try their technique, try their colors, try their style. Do all of that and see what happens and add your own twist to it, and maybe you'll get some wonderful results. If not, maybe you learned something. And so I will see you later. Thank you so much for watching. Still admiring this painting. I just loved it. I